Hello, guys and gals, me, Mudahar. Let me make sure everything's focused and all good. Ladies and gentlemen, today's video is brought to you by a new company that I started. It's called Touching Grass Incorporated. I know that there's a lot of people out there with some first world problems, like which console is better? Is it the PlayStation or the Xbox? And if you genuinely fight over which system is better to the point where you're getting into heated arguments on Reddit, you know, YouTube, like 4chan, whatever you want to talk about, okay, Tinder, then guess what? You need to go out and touch some grass, okay? Like, not touch grass, boys. Mate with grass at this point, okay? You need to build some offsprings with grass. This is not healthy, normal behavior. Now, today's video is actually brought to you by one of the best tech channels that I love, Austin Evans. I actually do like Austin Evans. I think one of the videos he uploaded recently, which got him into a bit of controversy, was the new PS5 is worse. Of course, as you can imagine, it's a very profitable endeavor. You know, obviously, negativity on YouTube or the internet works, okay? If he titled it, the new PS5 is slightly disappointing or maybe not all the way there, he wouldn't be getting 2 million views. But you call it worse with a fat emoji face, you're getting that fat click percentage, let me tell you. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Genuinely, if it is worse, then the title justifies itself. Of course, he also uploads stuff like the perfect Minecraft gaming PC. Swear to God, Austin, if you stuck a 3090 in that shit. Ryzen 9, bro, you're running Minecraft, not emulating RPCS 3. Stop it. Anyways, look, back to this video, okay? So this one, which is 13 minutes long, I think is a dog shit video, okay? I think it's a dog water video, and I'll explain why, okay? So basically what Austin Evans finds out, like basically any other person, is that there was a new classification in shipping the PlayStation 5. So in Japan and Australia, I guess, they found out that the PlayStation 5s that are shipping now are 300 grams less. Let me just do a quick conversion for every American in the audience real quick. 300 grams, 2 pounds. Yeah, that would be less than a pound, okay? So you might be wondering, whoa, did they forget how to stick packing peanuts in that bitch? No, ladies and gentlemen, not at all. Because what it turns out is they actually removed a significant portion of the console's heatsink. Yeah, so right over here, they end up showing what happened in the PlayStation. So apparently, it seems as though this is the old PlayStation 5, right? So you see how they have a bunch of copper and everything around their heatsink? It seems as though the lack of 300 grams in the new device was the fact that the heatsink has been noticeably, like, destroyed, okay? This is what we like to call an uncircumcised heatsink. This is not just circumcised, this is like a totally different heatsink. So basically, Sony appears to have cheaped out, or at least reduced the engineering revolving their heat dissipation system. That's what a heatsink is there for, okay? So the general consensus that was made from this video was that, oh, well, the PlayStation 5 must be running toastier. And Austin did some scientific research into this, right? Where basically Austin, like, ran Astros Playground. Dude, I've been emulating a lot, okay? If I keep confusing those words, thank the RPCS 3 team, all right? Metal Gear Solid 4 is preserved. Thank you, Jesus. But he basically emulates this, he basically runs Astros Playground, which is like the pack-in game for the PlayStation 5, right? Personally, I talked to MVG about this, Modern Vintage Gamer, totally epic dude, check his channel out. I talked to him, it probably would have been better if Austin ran like Call of Duty or something with ray tracing, something that pushes these systems, okay? I don't think Astros Playground is necessarily pushing the PlayStation 5 to its extreme. Then again, alright, whatever. He runs this as a control test to see how the system operates in the same area.
So now let's take a look at the new one and see where we're at here. 5556. So this one's actually somewhat warmer. A 3 or 4 degree difference isn't huge, but that actually is something, especially.
Yeah, let's talk about thermodynamics. All right, boys, think about this as your raunchy, tech-ridden uncle, all right, telling you about how heat displacement works. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the air that comes out of an exhaust port is measurable, right? Austin just did it for you. Basically, he looked at the older PlayStation and he said, wow, this is like outputting less hot heat than the newer system. Now, this experiment doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot, okay? Yes, the heatsink has been reduced. He hasn't really looked into the fact that some of the fans have been different. In fact, I think he did look into the fans, and I think the newer PlayStation had like better fans, although not by much. There isn't really something weird about exiting super hot heat. If you ever played something on your gaming computer and just stuck your hand behind your tower where your graphic card is when it's rendering something like Cyberpunk 2077 or any big game, you'll notice the heat is pretty hot, okay? That's not necessarily a bad sign. It just means that heat is exiting, exhausting out of the actual device, out of where it's not supposed to be. See, heat isn't something you can cancel like Twitter would tell you. Heat cancels itself by basically dissipating and displacing out around. The more heat dissipates, the less impact it would have, okay? That's a very layman's term of covering it. Now, in this case, all right, it could be a million factors. Austin didn't do the one careful thing on actually checking if this was affecting the new PlayStation 3 or 5s. So basically, what Austin should have done is applied a temperature probe onto the actual CPU die itself. That would have been a far more accurate perception of heat. This experiment meant nothing. So when Austin said the new PS5 is worse, that's a weird statement. See, other sites like Digital Foundry or really anybody else that got their hands on these systems ended up realizing that, wow, it's really not doing anything to impact the performance of the actual PlayStation 5. Honestly, the 3-degree difference is within the margin of error. So I really didn't understand this video. By calling it worse, all right, Austin basically spread unintentionally FUD into the marketplace, into the entire ecosystem. So this entire situation, in fact, let me go to the temperature stuff real quick, okay? This is what I mean by probing your system. If you go to an actual computer or go to any temperature monitor, something you'll notice right now is that my CPU is running these threads at 35 degrees Celsius, okay? 32 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Celsius. The air that comes out of the computer doesn't necessarily mean much. This is a much more accurate depiction of the temperature. Something, again, Austin didn't do. Now, if we whittle on back to the beginning where I talked about my new company, by the way, Touching Grass Incorporated, one of the realities is that when it comes to the console wars, gamers are serious about this stuff, okay? This is like the biggest first world problem you'll ever find. Now, personally, I own all of these consoles, but I'm more of a PlayStation person. I'll fully admit that there's a bias there. Now, before any window tasting sommelier in the comment section says that, Muda, but you're a paid chill for Sony, I want you to whittle on back to a few months ago where I actually talked about a PlayStation C-bomb issue and I desperately criticized them for it, which I still do since it's not fixed. So before anybody wants to throw accusations out, just look into history for a little bit. But I believe that every single one of these consoles is worth your time, okay? The PlayStation 5 is fine, the Xbox Series X and S are fine, and the Nintendo Switch is probably where I put most of my hours into anyways. Gaming PCs are great. I think we should just be thankful if we have a plastic box to game on. You know, there's people on the other side of the world that have literally nothing and they have to dodge bombs and terrible governments. Yeah, feel blessed that all you have to worry about is which plastic box is better, right? It really puts into perspective for you. But when you get into the situation of PlayStation 5 versus Xbox, there really isn't that big of a difference between the systems anymore. I mean, as far as their internals go, you're really just picking between the brand at this point. It's not as if either or system, the PlayStation or the Xbox, are so differing in performance anymore. Yes, the Xbox Series X is more powerful. Yes, the PlayStation 5 is slightly weaker. A little bit weaker, all right? Fully admit it. And that's why, all right, when you look at the graphic comparison between any game that's out right now, yes, the Xbox just looks sharper. The PlayStation looks slightly blurrier. I doubt 99.9% of people are going to notice the difference unless it's side by side and your eyes are stuck to the monitor, okay? I doubt that. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to just be thankful you have a gaming system to play on. And honestly, if you're going to buy one of these, just buy whatever your friends are buying so you play all within the same ecosystem. Though, crossplay is making a joke of that anyways, but that's a different topic. So to me, this console war makes no sense. And because of Austin's video, the scalp price on the original PlayStation kind of just spiked up a little bit. And I think that's dumb as hell. Why would you buy a scalped fucking PlayStation 5 when there's no goddamn reason to? Alright, do you understand that we are 1 year into the release of these systems and there are not enough compelling games to be worth buying it? I own a PS5. You know what I play on the PS5? PS4 games. I'm not kidding with you. There are not enough PS5 games to be worth paying the scalped price for this nonsense. Wait like 2-3 years when there's less of a chip shortage and there's more of these systems out. And hopefully this pandemic dies down a little bit so you can go to a store and purchase one of these. Till then, you have no reason. You're basically buying a glorified PlayStation 4 Pro at the moment. So calm down, relax, wait until these things harmonize a little bit.
It's not like I've never done a video on something controversial, but things are, this is a PS5, right? The fact that like the doxing and some of the more extreme elements of this, I think.
Yeah, there you go, boys. We got the PS5 doxing, and when he says extreme elements, he's talking about death threats, okay? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it seems like gamers aren't the most, like, at least these extreme fringe level of gamers, which are just terrible human beings, aren't exactly all right up there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, he's right. It is just a PlayStation 5. Look, when I watched his original video, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. I honestly watched it and I thought, yeah, it's a poor way to do a video, okay? Yes, I don't think it's the proper way to discuss heat sinks and thermodynamics, and really his experiment wasn't exactly the proper experiment to me. But at the end of the day, all right, it's one of those videos where I thought, like, yeah, it's a PlayStation 5. At the end, it's not that big of a deal, okay? It's really not that big of a deal. Because he decided to go encroach into the world of console wars, Austin Evans has realized that you can't reason, you can't rationalize with these crazy psychotic fucks. Yes, some of these people, some of these individuals who take this to its like extreme end will end up doxing and will end up harassing you for it. And I absolutely find no way that anybody can condone it. This is some of the most insane non-drama issue that I've ever seen. Austin made one dumb video about the PlayStation 5's newer heatsink, and in some ways, Austin is right. You are getting, in my opinion, a slightly inferior cooling solution. Now, whether that cooling solution is actually going to impact your experience in the long term is something to question, okay? If you're not getting impacted by it, I don't really mind it, unless, of course, the performance on the PlayStation 5 actually suffers. But there have been tests and understanding that it really hasn't. So whether their over-engineered solution initially when the PlayStation 5 launched was really just over-engineering, or whether they found some way to optimize the system now is an interesting different story to look for. Again, also calling this a revision of the PlayStation 5 is it's not that crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the PlayStation 5. The new one is slightly worse. And you know what? I guess one can argue that you're paying the same amount for, I guess, less copper and heatsink, okay? So it is a different story. That being said, though, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. Don't ask for sponsorships for the company. It was an entire joke, by the way. I am out.